There's only one thing better than a keto brownie. Guess what it is? Welcome to the Keto Baking Mechanic, where we create, tweak, and enhance keto and low-carb breads and baked goods, including keto low-carb sourdough, my obsession, and my business. So guess what's better than a keto brownie? How about a 90-second keto Mississippi mud pie brownie? Woo! So exciting. And they call it Mississippi mud pie because it's dark and gooey and it resembles the shoreline of the Mississippi River. So we're going to do this in 3 layers. We're going to have a crust, a gooey brownie center, and a rich, creamy, chocolatey topping. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to add the first layer, which is the crust, to our brownie. So there's no sense making an extra bowl dirty, so we're going to do it right in our 5.5 inch by 5.5 inch glass microwave proof dish. So we're just going to add our almond flour, and then to make this nice and chocolatey, we're going to add our 0 carb cocoa powder, and then we're going to add some melted butter. So I'm just going to plop that in there, and we're going to mix that together. Okay, so my chocolate chips took roughly about 30 seconds. Depends again on your chocolate chips. I'm just going to add 1 egg to our bowl. And then I'm going to add our melted chocolate chips, sugar-free, to the egg. And then we're going to mix this sucker together. Okay, so we're just going to pour the brownie layer on top of our chocolate crust. That's why it's called the Mississippi mud pie. Everything is chocolate in this dessert. Okay. So I'm just going to spread this brownie mixture around. I'm going to clean out our bowl, and we're going to work on the last chocolate cream based layer. The way I'm doing it so that it's keto friendly, flexible keto friendly, is instead of using whipping cream or a thick custard full of butter, because traditionally I think all the layers are supposed to be loaded in butter, and we do not want all of that saturated fat. So we're kind of compromising and using flexible keto friendly ingredients to still make it decadent and delicious, but with all that high fat. Okay, so for this version we're going to use an extra smooth ricotta cheese. So I've got the ricotta, and we're going to add it to our bowl. Then I'm going to add our cocoa powder again, and our powdered sweetener. We want to use powdered. If it's granular, you're going to taste it in the cream. So we're just going to add that to the top. Now we're not going to microwave this. We're going to add this after the brownie has microwaved for 60 seconds. Have a look at the brownie, and what you can see is that it isn't quite done to a full bake. You want it to be gooey. It's got to represent that gooey, dark shoreline of the Mississippi River. So we want it to have some molten chocolate in the center. That's why 60 seconds. So between melting your chocolate chips for 30 seconds and 60 seconds, you got your 90-second keto Mississippi mud pie brownie. Okay, so for a few ideas and tips, I let the brownie cool, and then I put it into the refrigerator overnight, because if you put it into the refrigerator too quickly before the brownie has cooled, it'll gain condensation on the inside of the tub and make your brownie wet. So that's the first thing. Secondly, you don't have to use ricotta. This is cottage cheese. Go for 4%. If you use 1% or 2%, it's going to be too runny. If that's the case and you insist on using 1% or 2%, then drain the cottage cheese in some cheesecloth before you use it in your cream. And you can see it's a little bit more clumpy looking than the extra creamy ricotta. Okay, next we've got toasted pecans still and our chocolate chips. So I'm just going to put the cottage cheese cream on top of the brownie. I toasted the pecan pieces, I also let them cool 100% as well. You do not want to put hot pecan pieces on top of the cream because it'll take the fluff away. Everything needs to be chilled if you want your brownie to look really pretty. Now, after you've set it in the refrigerator, probably overnight, which is always a good deal to do, you can then warm it up in the microwave for a couple of seconds so you can have a nice warm brownie with melted chocolate chips on top. Okay, so let's just add some chocolate chips. Okay, there you can see, look at the layers. Isn't that beautiful? There we have it. This is your cottage cheese version. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. If you want your base to be thicker, be sure to add about 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder to the egg and melted chocolate. That's what I did here, and it really brings it up so you have a nice thicker layer of the brownie. And overnight, when you put this in the refrigerator, all the flavors will meld and the brownie will become dense tasting. It's absolutely delicious. Okay, this has been sitting in the refrigerator. Look at this, gorgeous. And we're going to slice it either in 4 squares or 8, depending on how much you want to have as a dessert with respect to your macros, your fat intake, your calories, your net carbs, etc. So I'm just going to very carefully slice it down the center, and we're going to turn it around and do the other side as well. That's not very even, but that's okay. Then I go around the edges. Okay, for the next step, you want a very firm spatula on the end. You don't want it to be flexible because we've got to lift it out right from the crust. And here you have it, a 90-second keto Mississippi mud pie brownie. Don't forget to check out my playlist, 90-second keto.